What is up, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is episode 79 of the Life Gaming Podcast. My name is Jamie, and I'll be your captain on this cruise of video game awesomeness. And you all know my co-host, Mr. PlayStation, Mr. Josh Bray.
Praise the sun! E3 is over. Great times, man.
I'm assuming you enjoyed it.
Great year, man. I wasn't let down. Well, a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
It was great.
Okay.
Fun.
Talking about letdowns. Our very own Mr. Flip Flopper, Chris White.
Hello, James. Hello, Josh. I'm also glad that E3 is over. I was also let down horribly all week long. So let's get this flaming pile of trash tractor riding down the road.
I just want to say, in general, before we even get talked about everything, overall, this is one of the best E3s. Every show was great. We'll talk about it, but I'm just saying, it's just funny that both of you are disappointed so much. But
I'm not that disappointed.
before we hop into all the E3 talk, because that's the majority of today's show is just going to be E3 wrap up. Brant, I know you said there's a few things you've been playing you wanted to talk about. So, what you been playing?
Well, it's funny because I've been on a sort of lull with gaming in general.
Okay. But
I've found that jolly cooperation and playing with other people is actually more fun than it seems.
Sure.
And Erica and I, we've been playing, this is probably the most we've played games in, our whole relationship. Literally, just the past 2 weeks. Because we finished, I wrote a review for What Remains of Edith Finch on Geeks Under Grace, and she was so captivated by my wording in the review that she wanted to check out the game. And so
she read your review. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And
just for context, has she ever read anything before that? Because she was captivated by your words. Okay,
she does read.
Good. I wasn't sure.
She knows how to read.
I wasn't sure if that was just the first thing she ever read, which is why she was so captivated.
Whoa, this says but. No.
Oh my gosh.
No, but we had a good time. Oh man. Okay. We had a good time playing Edith Finch. She had a hard time getting used to the first-person controls, but I helped her out, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. The story, like I said, that game is just awesome. If you have a PS4 or PC, go play it. And now we're moving on to Until Dawn.
Oh, cool.
And I never finished it the first time around, and I'm about to the point where we were before, but I'm playing this because it's a little harder to grasp, and she's making the decisions. So, during QuickTime events, I'll play all that out. I'll mess up or whatever, and then she'll make the decisions, and it's been a lot of fun. Cool. So
now,
you
Brant,
have to think on the fly.
I want to say I didn't realize this till after the Sony conference, but during the Sony conference, they showed a VR game called Impatience.
Yeah,
that is a prequel to Until Dawn. I did not know
really
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So apparently in the same psych
really cool.
ward and all that stuff, and I'm like, that's really awesome. So, but cool. Anything else you've been playing, sir?
Yeah, and then we just bought ARMS today, and
cool.
I put a nice little pic of the kids. Titus is getting into it, and they're it's just easy. If you have motion controls, all you do is punch. You don't really have to do anything else, and they're having fun with that. So,
awesome.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what I've been playing, what I've been up to. So
cool. And I guess I'll just hop in real quick. You're talking about gaming with your wife. As I mentioned on the shows previously, playing through Pirates of the Caribbean with my wife, we have, I think, just 2 chapters left the entire game. We almost played through the whole thing because we found out how much she liked Lego games. So one thing I did, I think it was last weekend, we went out and GameStop was having a big sale, and we picked up Lego City Undercover for Xbox One. So we're going to start playing through that. And I also picked up Chase McCain, the Lego Dimensions character. He's back there now, too. So when we start playing Lego Dimensions again, because if she liked this game, we can use him in the other game, too. So pretty excited about that. The other game I've been playing, because I should have gotten around to playing this a long, long time ago, but I didn't. It kind of fell off my radar for a while with other stuff coming up. But I'm finally playing through Ori and the Blind Forest. I am
Good
absolutely in love with this game. It is beautiful. The platform is great, but my goodness, it is extremely difficult.
Yeah, it is.
But playing that, I am super hyped for Ori and the Will of the Wisps now, and that game looked gorgeous on the E3 stage this year. It's 4K. It's going to be awesome. And one thing I was telling Chris earlier, I was playing Ori and the Blind Forest, and my wife was like, "What's that music?" She's like, "It's so magical. It's very pretty." And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing Ori and the Blind Forest." And then the next day, I came home from work, and my wife, she went on Amazon and bought the soundtrack for Ori and the Blind Forest because she loves the music so much. It's like a 40-track CD soundtrack. Like, it's crazy. And she just listens to it. She just likes to listen.
Wow.
She just loves the music from Ori and the Blind Forest that much.
Good, man. It's a good game.
The
Good
music is great. The art style is very beautiful. I'm really loving it.
Yeah,
But
I wish I could play that.
Chris, any particular games you want to bring up before we hop into our E3 extravaganza?
So I missed the last show. So I actually haven't had a lot of time.
Oh,
to
no
play
wonder that show was so good.
hadn't had a lot of time to play this last week because I've been really busy. But I had jumped into a few games that I didn't get to mention. So I'm playing what may be one of my favorite games of all time. And I didn't expect it to be, and I was very hesitant to start playing it. And it's pretty much the only game that I want to play. I mean, Zelda was my game of the year for a while, but it's been overtaken by a game called Chroma Squad.
Oh my gosh, you always bring up Chroma Squad. It's hilarious.
And dude, Chroma Squad is so freaking great. I absolutely love this game. It's so good. It's so good. I talk about it every
Please say
week.
it's not a Android game or
No.
phone game.
It's an Xbox 360 game. It may be
Xbox
on
One.
PS4.
You mean Xbox.
Oh yeah,
Xbox
sorry,
360.
Xbox One.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're going way back.
I was going way back in time.
Xbox.
I know it's on PC. It is on iOS. I assume it's probably on PlayStation 4 too. No, this is a strategy RPG where you play Power Rangers, and it is quite possibly my favorite game of all time.
Now, how did you even hear about this game?
The heck is it? Yeah, is it K Chroma?
No. It's Chroma, like CHROMA, Chroma Squad.
Oh.
I saw it on Steam, but my PC at the time couldn't run it.
Okay.
And it doesn't. I don't know why, because it doesn't require a lot. But my PC was a piece of junk. But I don't know. I think somebody may have just tweeted it out or something, and I saw it look like Power Rangers, so I checked it out. I don't know how I found it, but I absolutely love that game. I play that game probably at least an hour a day.
I just looked up the website on my phone, and it only shows Steam. It doesn't even show Xbox One on their website.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's on Xbox One because that's where I play it, and it's on iOS. Okay. That being said, I have to take a minute here, and this is just for Josh.
Oh wait, Josh,
yeah.
mark this day down in your calendar.
Make sure
This will
you're
never
I
happen
have
again.
a bright red
So-
spot on this day.
So,
Like the black spot that Pirates give them going to kill somebody.
bright red spot. I don't know. So look, me and Jamie jumped in 2 weekends ago. Overwatch because of the anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Overwatch had
So good.
free weekend. So we both downloaded it on Xbox One, and we partied up and we played.
Party.
Probably like at least 2 of the 3 days.
Yeah.
And we played quite a bit, and I played as Girl Archangel, and she's
Mercy.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, Girl
Mercy it
Archangel,
up.
she's great. So we ended up buying. I bought it. Jamie and I
Yep.
both bought it.
Yes.
So
I
listen,
told
if you have listened to Life of Gaming for any length of time since I have been on, so this year, you will have heard me several times explain that Overwatch is a pile of trash. And while I do want to throw a couple of caveats out, I still do not consider it a game. like this really started whenever we got
What
to the game.
is it? A multiplayer fun?
Yeah, fun experience. Yes. I will go back to our game of the year discussion where I said that there is no world in which I would ever vote for Overwatch's Game of the Year because it's not a game. And I kind of dude, I'm sorry. It is a one-trick pony. Now, that trick is very, very great. And whenever Jamie is available and I get on and play, it's great. I will tell you that I've tried 2 or 3 times without Jamie to play by myself, and I absolutely hated it.
So what he's saying is I carry the team. So without me there, the game just falls apart.
Yeah, Tracer all the way.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I'm all about Tracer and Genji the Ninja, man. Those are like my two main characters.
Yeah, I only play as Girl Archangel. I mean that. I think that it is one of the most fun experiences that I've had in a multiplayer setting. And I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think that. So I said in the chat, for Josh's sake, I would gladly come on here and eat crow. And so it's a good game. It's a good experience. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with it.
You will say this is a game at one point.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think so, but it is good. I had a lot of fun with it, and I will continue to play as I can play with people that I know. But I absolutely have no interest in playing by myself. So.
Now, Brant, I just want to say, if flip-flopping was an Olympic sport, Chris would have the gold medal.
No, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that because when we start talking about Nintendo in a few minutes.
Not only does he flip-flop, he has ways to like have little caveats in there, like it's not really a game. Like I love this. Oh, by the way, it's not really a game. So
I still wouldn't call it a game. I'm sorry.
I just imagine like someone like an Olympic announcer, like like the gymnastics, like he's flipped, he's flopped. Oh my gosh, can you do it again? Yes, he's done it! A triple flip-flop!
What I do.
And he's landed it.
It's what I do.
Belly flop!
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. With that, we're going to hop into what you all want to hear about. Our wonderful wrap-up of E3.
Do they?
This is our topic of the week. So with that, I say, hit it, Brent.
Boom! Here comes the boom, ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom! Here comes the boom, ready or not. Ha ha ha! Now you like me now, I say.
That was
boom.
Wonderful.
Well, I will say that you had more boom in that song than E3 had, but that was a good.
I'm bringing the boom with E3.
Oh my gosh, E3 was so good this year. So what we're gonna do before we get into the conference talk, let's just talk strictly games. So what were, now I wasn't going to say your favorite game of the show, but there were so many good games. Let's say like your top 3. And they don't have to be in like order 1, 2, 3. You could just say 3 games you're really excited for out of the gate. We'll each do one and just kind of keep going through one at a time. So Brant, since Chris hated E3 this year apparently, I'll let you start, man. What is one game you're super excited about because of E3?
Oh man, one game that I wasn't thrilled about at all. I played Wolfenstein: The New Order when it first came out.
I don't know why.
And I didn't care for it
because he said he didn't. The one game he didn't care for.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm saying this
you didn't like the original
because
setting it up. Got you. The original.
I liked the original. I liked the original, but it was just. It was sort of boring to me.
Sure.
But this trailer for Wolfenstein, was it Rise of the Colossus?
The new Colossus.
Or what is it?
New Colossus.
The new Colossus, yeah. Dude,
it's not
I
boring.
love what they're... It was so funny. The character interactions and the story seem so awesome. Like, in America, it's already overrun with the Nazis. And just the dialogue and the psychedelic nature of it all.
Yeah.
Like, there was this guy, like, tripping on some drug. Like, this cartoon thing he thought he was seeing. I was like, man, what? This has some style to it. This looks awesome.
Yeah.
Then they showed actual gameplay, and it looked great.
Now,
So,
Brant, I don't know.
I was totally blown away.
I don't know if you saw the E3 demo, but just to kind of set this up, apparently at the beginning of the demo, BJ wakes up in a hospital, right? and he can't walk. So they have him in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so the whole first part of the demo, you're in a wheelchair rolling around with a shotgun, and you're shooting people out of this wheelchair. And they said there's this part where you fly down this ramp going super fast on your wheelchair, and you have an Uzi in each hand. You're shooting Nazis all the way down with Uzis while you're riding this wheelchair ramp.
Oh man.
And they said this
I love
game
the
is just
over the top
crazy.
nature.
Yeah, that's one of
Yeah.
the games I'm super excited for. But because you said it, I won't say that one again. I guess the next game I'm gonna bring up, a game that I'm excited for. Well, I mean, I knew it was coming, and I thought, this game will be fine. But after E3, one game I'm super excited for now is Crackdown 3, because I'm like, Crackdown. It was good before. Crackdown 1 was great. Crackdown 2 was okay. But Crackdown 3, now I will say it didn't show very well during the Microsoft conference. But
it didn't show good at all.
if you watched any of the demo later, like on Xbox Daily or any of those shows, it looks so good. It's like, I'm ready for a game, like a superpower game. You're kind of like jumping off rooftops and you're blowing stuff up and throwing cars. And it kind of reminds me of Infamous a little bit. Like, we just run around just causing havoc. And
Yeah.
it looks so good. I am super excited for Crackdown 3. Plus, it's going to run in 4K HDR. It comes out the same day
Yeah.
as the Xbox One X. So
It looks
I
great.
might be picking that up the same day. It's going to be great. I'm super excited.
Yeah. I agree. Looks great.
Okay, Chris, who hated E3 this year.
I didn't hate E3. Stop.
What's the game I'm going to dig this into people's
You're like
minds.
Fox News, man.
Right.
Stop spreading fake news out.
What you got, man?
So I had a
You're wrong.
caveat for all the games that I picked. I wanted them. Anytime I vote for something that I consider game of the year or something in that sort of category, game of the show, I want it to be an actual something that's playable. So real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Last Night, which they showed on Microsoft Stage. Now I didn't put that in my top.
Good.
I didn't put that in my top 3 because nobody actually got to play it. It was just a trailer.
It looks
but
great.
Holy crap!
That was one that was like 8-bit Blade Runner, right?
Yeah. 8-bit Blade Runner. It's like a 2D, and it shows them kind of interacting with the world and hiding behind like when lights shine, and it shows them kind of inspecting some stuff. Who knows what it actually is going to turn out to be? But that game, that may have been my favorite thing that I saw at the show. I thought it was amazing. Okay, but actually for games, so I'll go. Well, the first one for me is Starlink.
Okay.
So Starlink is a game that they showed at the Ubisoft conference, and it's a different take on the Toys to Life genre, where you could strap a starship to your controller, and the gameplay looks like a mix between Star Fox and No Man's Sky. And you can kind of hover around the actual planet side and search the whole planet and find like crevices and hidden nooks and stuff and upgrade and treasures and things, and you get into combat that way. And then you can jump up into like orbital flight, and you can fly anywhere you want out into space, fly around space, fly to another planet.
This is No Man's Sky Toys to Life version. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I basically
What it should have been.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. But look, I've not made any bones about me being a huge Rogue Squadron fan. I love Star Fox. I love flight simulation games, but not like the really hard, complicated type stuff. I like arcadey, type.
Yeah, like Star Fox.
Type.
Yeah,
like Star Fox.
Yeah.
And so this game looks to kind of scratch that itch. Now, real quick, if you don't know anything about the game, they did say that you would be able to play the entire game without ever buying a toy.
Oh,
so
cool.
so everything that you want can
That's
be
great.
can either be unlocked, or they will have the you can purchase it. It'll be microtransactions, and it'll be cheaper than the physical pieces.
Yeah.
Say you wanted to buy a new ship, let's say, and they didn't give any costs, but let's say the ship is $10, then maybe you could just buy it, like download it DLC for like $5 or something like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
So you don't actually have to ever physically own anything unless you want to, which is super cool. It doesn't come out till next fall, fall 2018. But dude, already it's at the
it's a
top of the
long
list.
ways
Yeah.
off.
It looks
Now-
so good.
It is interesting how we're talking about these different games, because honestly, Chris, before you mentioned it, I totally forgot that was shown. Like it didn't click
I
with
know, I
me
forgot
as a
about it,
gamer.
too.
I just forgot about it. And the one thing I love about E3 is that there's something for everybody.
That's right.
Everybody finds some games that they're absolutely gonna love. But okay, Brant, what second game are you also excited for?
Oh, I'll get right to it. God of War.
Okay.
Yes.
When
It
I
looks
keep
so
seeing
good.
this game, what's cool about it is like it's just a different take on Kratos. Like he said, you've taken on the best of gods, and now you're going to a different land where there's different gods, like
Now he takes
the
on
Norse
fatherhood.
mythology.
That is
Let's
true
take
though.
Yeah, it
on
is, yeah.
Odin.
But
Odin, and then all the gods of Valhalla and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so all the games up to this point, right? And I don't. Again, I'm not a PlayStation guy, so I haven't followed it.
God,
But
I love the God of War games. They're
but
really
like,
good.
all the games leading up here have all been like the Greek gods, right? So like Zeus and
Right,
like
yep.
those
Right.
gods. So now we're making the jump to, like you said,
Zeus,
Odin
Hades.
and Thor, and so now we're moving into this Norse
Right.
gods, which is super cool. The trailer looked
It is.
amazing.
Yeah, it
like,
did.
so good, and the reveal at the end is whoever was talking.
Remember that shield
or
they
that
showed where it's
snake
like
guy.
flipping out? Oh, that
that
was
was
so
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, but then at the end, that big snake
Yeah,
monster
like,
went
like come
over,
out,
it's like,
just
It
definitely.
looked like Kratos
then
the
that-
snake. It like had a weird beard, and it was like it was really strange.
That is true. It's
Yeah.
true. Man, that game looked great. I
What was
will
great
say.
about it though,
Oh, go ahead.
it was
Good.
running on a base PS4.
Right,
too,
that was impressive. That was very
which
impressive.
is amazing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I will say, and we'll talk about Sony's conference. I will say that is without question from my perspective the best thing they showed. I thought it was great.
It looks really good. Looks really, really good.
Definitely.
If I had a PS4, I would absolutely be buying that game because like I said, I've played through all the. Well, I didn't play through the PSP games, but I played through all the core God of War games on PS3. But okay,
Yeah, I didn't even care for the God of War games. They're
Oh.
great games, but this just takes on a whole different level.
Hmm.
So
and the God of War games have always looked nice. Like they always look because you're always fighting these giant monsters, and they always pushed
Right.
PlayStation limits. They've always looked good. My
Yep.
second game is one I think Brent you're also excited for, The Evil Within 2. That game I loved the first
Yes.
one, and the thing I loved about Evil Within is it didn't go the way that Resident Evil has been going the last few years, where it's like total action, zombies, shoot, 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 shoot. It was, I mean, it had that in there, but it also had like a lot of like psychological horror and like just mind games where you would just wake up and like you're in another room and like there were just a lot of weird stuff, invisible enemies, and like I just loved the first Evil Within very, very much. So I'm really excited, and it comes out Friday the 13th of October, which is awesome. I am so excited for that game.
perfect.
It's gonna be great. Now, Chris,
Yeah,
I
what's
know you
cool?
hate horror.
The Evil Within. Yeah, I was just gonna say the Evil Within 1. I thought that was a really good game, but the ending was very lackluster.
Right, yeah.
Like it just sort of dropped off a cliff. When it went into the supernatural stuff, I was just like, whatever. But it started off so great, and it looks like this game takes cues from just like all the awesome horror tropes you can see and freaky, yeah, just overall.
It's gonna be so good, and there's a
I don't-
lot
I don't-
of
I
really
don't do
good
the
horror
spookies.
games coming out. Yeah, I know, Chris. You're just gonna go hide in the corner. It's okay.
Yeah.
Not a problem. But
That's how it is.
Pity party.
let's move on to happier things. Then, what is your number 2?
There were so many games, and when I sat down to make my list of 3 games today when we were preparing for the show, I ended up with 13 games.
I've got like 10 myself. So
Yeah, so they're just so many. I guess for me, I will.
It's
Okay.
like pulling teeth, man.
Yeah, I
ripping off
just-
Band-Aid. Just do it real fast all
So
at once.
I will say I'm gonna say A Way Out.
Oh, okay, the
so-
co-op game, yeah.
A Way Out was revealed at EA's conference, and it is made by the guy who made Brothers, which was
Step Brothers, the Will Ferrell movie.
Nope. Yeah, Brothers was made. It was originally an Xbox, like an XBLA game on 360 exclusive, like short, but it eventually came everywhere. The unique hook of that game was that you controlled two brothers at the same time. Each one of them were assigned the joystick and then a trigger to do actions. And so you had to really learn how to play that game very, very specifically because you were always controlling two people. And this is now also involves two people, but it's different in that it is a forced co-op game. So whether it's couch co-op or online, it's always split screen because each person is experiencing things differently. But you basically play two guys who end up in prison together, and it's a game about living in prison, and then figuring out how to escape, and then it shows stuff beyond that. It shows them showing up at a hospital and seeing maybe his daughter being born, or I don't know, something, and it shows them at a gas station, and the cops come up. So who knows like where all this game goes? It seems very what's the word? It seems very it seems like it's trying to reach, and that worries me a little bit, just because the only pedigree this guy has is brothers, and so it seems like it's definitely trying to be like a big epic game. So we'll see if it can reach that. But man, right now I'm super pumped, and I like playing co-op.
We'll definitely have to co-op that game. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We should probably stream it on Mixer. That would be hilarious.
Sure.
Now Mixer's actually really cool because it says that you can do co-op streams now, which is great. Good. But actually, Chris, I was listening to the creator of that game. He was on a Game Informer's podcast this week talking about his game, and apparently, like you said, Brothers is the only other game he's made. He used to be a film director. That's probably why his games are a certain way. They're very story driven. So hopefully it turns out really good.
Yeah. I'm excited.
For the way he was talking, though, I have a feeling it's a shorter experience. Yeah. But it's probably worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Brothers ended up being like 3 or 4 hours.
I'm expecting this to be like 4 to 6, maybe.
Yeah, but look, if it's really cool, and if there are, and we don't know a lot about it yet, but if there are multiple ways, like let's say there's multiple ways that you can actually escape prison, or like multiple ways you can, like that adds replayability. Yeah. Plus, you can switch characters, so like we can do it one time, and then we can switch, and we can take different roles.
There's probably achievements for completing the game with those
characters.
It's completely.
Anyway,
it's completely multiplayer too.
Yeah.
You have to either play online or you play with someone else. It can't be played single player. So
yeah.
Okay, Brent, you're number 3. What do you got, man?
And I just want to refer to the creator that you're talking about, Bo Anderson Clint, I believe is his name. Just so awesome. People don't,
awesome.
Don't
Thank you.
Throw that out. Yeah. But I mean, there's just so many good games, like you said.
There's just too many.
I think I have to go with. I was surprised by this game. It was another one that just caught me off and is like something I really want to play day one when it comes out, and that's Days Gone.
Oh, yeah.
I was really impressed with that
horde of zombies that came over that fence when you like broke the fence and the zombies came through.
I like the whole premise of them being like the 28 days later zombies that are just reckless and just run after you in swarms. And there's too many swarms, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
I like that whole premise. I like that it's like basically a Last of Us open world, and that Last of Us was great because it was contained, heavily story driven, but this looks like it's going to be story driven, but it's just going to be completely free, which is awesome. And it also looks like it plays like Horizon a little bit, like they're taking all the best parts from certain games and adding those elements into this. Bend has made some good games, but they haven't really made anything on the level of like Horizon or God of War. So
that's what I was going to ask you, because the only game that I know that they made Golden Abyss, right, for the Vita.
Yeah, and they made Siphon Filter for the PS1. That was like their big
all right, I'm with
tentpole release. But they have a lot to prove. But every studio that has to have a chance to prove something. So, I was pleasantly surprised by that.
It does look good. That zombie bear at the end was really
good. I forgot about the zombie bear.
Zombie bear, man.
I forgot about that. I bet I'm assuming the zombie bears and memes all over the place now. I'm just assuming.
Should be.
But okay. My number 3, my final game, I was having a hard time going between 2 games. The one I'm just going to give a quick shout out. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm excited for it anyway. And that's Assassin's Creed Origins. Look fantastic.
Yes, looks great.
But the one I'm going to bring up is Anthem by BioWare.
Oh,
right?
yes.
That game looks fantastic. It's like Destiny, and I always bring this up. It reminds me
Not Dark
of
Void.
Dark Void.
Oh, not
People
Dark Void.
don't like
again.
Dark Void. I really enjoy Dark Void because the way you fly, like the way your feet like kicking in the background while he flies, looks just like Dark Void. The way he does power jumps, just like Dark Void. The combat reminds me, except in this, you're not fighting like just robots all the time. People hated Dark Void because I remember it came out the same time as Uncharted, had Nolan North as the main character in each, and so people were like, "Oh, this is terrible," and so they wouldn't play it. But Dark Void had a lot of good stuff.
Listen, this is what I imagined in my head.
Yeah.
I imagine the guy who developed the animation for the flying.
Yeah.
Imagine him sitting in a room by himself at his computer, and his favorite game of all time is Dark Void. And somehow somehow he comes across our podcast, and right now he just heard you mention Dark Void, which nobody else under the sun has done because they're not weirdos. And he's just fist pumping. He's like, yes,
Someone gets it.
Oh man, but no, I really enjoy it. But Airtight Games, the company that made Dark Void, they made some really good stuff. They made Quantum Conundrum. You guys remember that? So good.
You get off of this. This is not
good.
a conversation.
Good game. Okay.
Favorite developer
Right.
here.
Okay. But Anthem looks amazing. Like it looks so
looks
good in
great.
4K. I don't know. Is 60 frames? I
don't know.
I don't know. But it looks.
I'm sure it will
so
be.
good. It's by BioWare, so we know it's going to be great story, great combat. So
I
we'll
don't
see.
know. That game has a lot to prove to me. I wasn't as blown away as other people,
Sure.
to be honest.
I thought, yeah. Well, that was because it was on Xbox.
Another Destiny,
Sure.
which people love those games, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever.
I think it's going to be great. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Third game.
So, I mean, I said, my third game is my game of the show, without question, which is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Of course.
There is not a game I'm probably more excited to play this fall, except for Chroma Squad and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Sterling 70 Metacritic right here.
So look, I love Battlefront 1. And even though I wanted a story campaign, obviously, like Battlefront 1 had enough to keep me happy and busy for quite a while. I liked having like the skirmish modes where you could do missions and you have waves of enemies and you could do that solo. Great, all that's good. But the one thing obviously that you want is a story mode. They didn't show the story mode; they showed multiplayer.
I wish they would have showed that
on the stage, but they did have hands-on behind closed doors, and in each of the previews that I've read, I mean, it just sounds amazing. The demo started with you piloting a TIE fighter, and you're approaching, a rebel frigate, and you're dogfighting in space. You land the TIE fighter, in the docking bay, and you get out of the TIE fighter, and then instantly you're first-person shooting, and you're murdering, rebels left and right. I love that it's from the Empire's perspective. I love that I love that it's telling a story that hasn't been told before, but that I love that EA has the right to tell a canon story, which is super cool. So it's gonna fill the gap from Jedi to Force Awakens. I love that you can play as Darth Maul. I love that you can play as Rey and Kylo Ren. I love what's her face, the main girl. I always forget her name. It's like it starts with a J.
She was an awesome announcer.
She was amazing. She was the best. Like EA had like a 4.5 conference until she walked on stage, and she was amazing. And she
bumped it up to a 7.
She had a custom fit dress with like the Inferno red on her sleeve here. Like she just completely owned the stage and owned the character. I love it. I love everything about that game. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cool. And there were so many great games we didn't even talk about. I mean, they're just it was insane. But you're talking about EA's conference, so let's roll this over into our kind of review of each individual conference. We'll talk about one good thing and one bad thing.
It's Janina Gavankar.
See, that's why I didn't say it. What is it?
Janina Gavankar.
Janina Gavankar.
Yeah.
She was great. She was in the league. That's where I know her from. which is an
You know
amazing.
her from many places, Chris.
No, pretty much just from the league. That's the only place I know her from, and my dreams now.
There you go.
But yeah. So okay, EA.
Okay. Let me roll. Let me reel this back in, guys. We're gonna hop into the conferences just as a whole. We'll go through each one, talk about something we really enjoyed and something we didn't really enjoy in each one, and then we'll kind of give it a review score. A through F. How about that? And we'll kind of give it a score and see how it goes.
There we go.
We'll start things off with EA. I guess I'll just talk about good things at the show. I'm trying to think what all EA had, because the problem is I missed the beginning of EA. I think my favorite thing of EA is what Chris mentioned earlier. Any Way Out,
A Way Out.
A Way Out. Sorry, A Way Out.
Way Out.
Well, yeah. That game right there was probably the big surprise for me from the EA show.
Yeah.
It
No, I
looks a lot
thought
better
it was.
than-
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Battlefront was amazing. They didn't spend a lot of time on it. She came out and gave her speech, and they played a little trailer, and then they rolled into like 30 minutes of gameplay. But Battlefront was great. I will say I'm a big Madden fan, and they started the show with introducing a story mode to Madden. And it's called like the what is it called? The Longest Yard, or I don't know. No, that's
probably something like that.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Turd Ferguson.
I don't know. Whatever it is, it looked like kind of like Friday Night Lights meets Madden. I'm fine with all of that. It looks super cool. It'll be interesting. The lead character was African American, and his dad was Copperhead from Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. Yeah.
I forget his name. He's a great actor. He was in what was
Moonlight.
the Moonlight, the Oscar movie,
Oh, yeah.
Moonlight. So and he actually won. I'm pretty sure he won.
He won something.
Supporting
He should
actor. Yeah, I think he won supporting actor. So he's fantastic, but he's the dad. It makes me so it looks like you're not even creating a character. It looks like you're definitely playing this guy, because obviously you're not gonna make yourself like a tubby white redneck, and your dad is this great African American actor. So that's not gonna work. So it looks like they have like a very specific story that they're trying to tell, which I think is super cool. But like in the cutscenes, it shows them driving down the road in a truck, and it shows them like at the house in the front yard. So I'm actually super cool for that. I was a pretty big surprise.
Cool. Okay, Brant, what's one thing you really enjoyed from the EA conference?
From the EA conference, it had to be like A Way Out was a pleasant surprise. I'm not as high on it as you guys. I don't think.
Looks good.
I because Brothers was special in its own way and it had a mystical like art style to it, while this looks more real. It doesn't appeal to me as much, but Battlefront 2 has to go to that, because I loved everything I saw. I wish they would have showed more of the single player.
I agree.
During that conference, because you can only watch it offline. But Battlefront 2, I can't wait, like Chris, to get that in the fall.
Sure.
So happy.
For me, I'd say the low point. Once you grade it, I'll kind of grade it, but for me, I felt like this was probably the weakest conference for me personally, just because outside of Madden, I don't play a lot of sports games, and I'm not a big Star Wars person. Like, I enjoy them, but I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan, so I'm not that interested in Battlefront. And then having 30 minutes of Battlefront on the end, it was just too much. I think 30 minutes of one game, just online multiplayer, was just too much.
I don't think, because it went an hour and a half. I mean, they went the whole show.
Right. But sure, my bad note for me was just that there was nothing there for me.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with that.
Sure.
I said earlier, my problem with the show was that it was a show of douchebags, and so my problem with it, and if you Google or go to YouTube and find the clip of the YouTube guy when he introduces Need for Speed, and he calls the guy two different names. If you watch him, he's like, I'm going to get my guy Mark up here in a second, but let me just tell you about this great bro thing. And he's talking, and he's like, all right, come here, Jeff. And it's like, you just called him Mark. Like, that's not his name. How stupid are you?
There were
I
a
don't
lot of
know.
awkward moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was until the girl got up there. Everybody else. Well, I will say no. Let's step back. The developer of A Way Out, he was pretty cool. He was super hyped for his own game.
Oh yeah, he was.
But
It was like
I
that
like to
guy
see
from
that.
Yarny, from
Right.
last.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, it was like that.
basically the same type.
Yeah. So he was okay, but outside of him, and then until we got to Star Wars, everybody else that was on stage was just a total douche. So that was my problem. Like I hated everybody.
like a douche. Oh
Oh my gosh. Okay, Brant.
So-
Brant, what do you got for a negative from EA?
For me, the negative. Yeah, I thought it just dragged on too long. Lots of awkward moments. I'm not a big sports guy, so they're trying to. It's hard to get this NBA. What it isn't 2K, is NBA 2K. It's
Live,
NBA Live.
NBA
Yeah,
Live,
they're
yeah.
trying to get it off the ground.
Mhm.
Just stop, guys. Yeah, there just wasn't enough games to satisfy me. Like Battlefront was the only game that I really cared about that they showed. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, on a rating scale of A to F, you can do pluses and minuses if you want. How would you rate EA? Brant.
I think if you just had the Battlefront sequence,
Be an A+.
You can't cut out pieces, man.
no,
Is that
it
a
don't
whole?
even that. Everything else is like a D minus. So I'll say a C minus, C somewhere in that range.
Okay. I would actually agree. I was going to say C minus as well. I think this was the weakest show of the bunch. It just didn't have a good flow to it. I didn't really have anything I was interested in, so I'd say C minus. Chris?
Yeah, I would have just said a flat C, but C minus sounds good. Like without A Way Out and Battlefront, it was a complete F.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think C minus is a good score.
Okay. Well, let's hop into the next conference.
Holy crap! Did we just agree on something?
We did.
We did.
We did.
Amazing.
Now we're
Brothers
absolutely
got
not.
a hug.
You're set us up for failure, man. Because the next conference we're talking about
Failure.
is Microsoft.
Oh man!
So this is not going to go well as far as
not gonna go
agreeing
well.
on a date. We'll see.
but I'm glad we get to do Sony last or close to last.
Right. Okay.
Don't forget Devolver.
I don't have
Oh,
Devolver
man,
on my list.
Devolver-
Do you guys want to talk about Devolver
was
real quick?
Amazing. Did you watch Devolver?
I did not
It
watch
was
it.
a
I did not watch
complete
Devolver.
spoof,
Oh,
and
my
it was
gosh.
hilarious.
It was the best thing I've seen all week. So good.
Just that everybody just has to. There's a part where a woman's head explodes. There's
That's
a
the
spoof
end. That's
on-
how it ends.
Yeah, there's a spoof where they're like interviewing these guys and they don't. Oh,
It's
it
so
was
good.
so funny.
Uh,
It's so bad. It was good. Like
My
I didn't know.
gosh.
I don't know if any of those games are actually gonna make it. Our actual games. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
It
so
was
good.
crazy.
That's
So good.
hilarious. I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yes, you
But,
should. It's only like 30 minutes. Or no, it's not even that. It's like 15 minutes, and it's amazing.
Okay.
Oh man.
I'll check it out. But okay, let's kick things off with the Microsoft conference. For this conference, what I would say is good was just the amount of games they brought. Right? They had 42 games, or is it 4? I keep thinking it's 42 or 46, somewhere in the 40s.
Whatever. 40 games. 40
let's say they
plus
have 42
games.
games, and 22 of those were either timed or exclusive. So like half of 42 games were some way exclusive. That's a lot of games. I mean, they kept me entertained from the moment it started to the 90. It was the longest one. I mean, it was a little over 90 minutes. It was like an hour and 40 minutes or 45. It was pretty long, but
great.
they had a lot to show. So I think the best thing about Microsoft's conference was the amount of how many good games they showed. But Chris, what did you like about the Microsoft conference?
Man, I like Phil Spencer.
Sure.
I like him on stage. I think that there is not a better studio head or head of a platform anywhere. I think he understands games. He understands what the Xbox fans want. Like I think so. Him being on stage and just his passion for the Xbox One X and just like his passion for bringing the games. It just, when I watch that guy on stage, it just makes me want to like what he's showing me.
Sure.
And thankfully, most of the time that I do. And then it was all capped off when he got to come out and be like, "Guess what's coming, guys? OG Xbox
Oh
game
yeah, I forgot about that.
on
Yeah.
backwards compatible
Yeah.
list." Look,
And you can even use your original Xbox disc, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's
you can-
pretty insane.
yeah, it's just look. Not a lot of people are going to have Xbox games. That's fine, and they probably won't release a lot of them digitally.
Mhm.
But just the fact that Phil would go to, Phil and the team would go to the work to do that because hardcore Xbox fans want that experience.
Mhm.
Like that is a huge, just like just kind of gravy on the plate there for the fans. And I thought it was great. So just I love Phil, and just seeing his passion for the platform, it's always gets me excited.
Cool. And I'm excited to go back and play some of the old Xbox games. I'm really hoping they bring Psychonauts back.
It's got to be because it was on Xbox Originals on the 360, so it already works.
Okay.
It already works there, and I already own it. So
okay, because I know they remastered it on PS4 because Psychonauts 2 is coming soon. So I'm really hoping I can play through the original. I have it on PC, but I'd rather just play through it on my Xbox. But okay, Brant, what did you like?
What did you like about
Microsoft's conference?
Microsoft?
Stop frowning.
What I liked about it was the flow was very nice. I thought they hit on a lot. They hit on the system. It was brief yet effective. They had a lot of games they showed. They had indie games. They had programs that were coming out. They just hit on. It wasn't just games. It was all this stuff that they're planning on doing, and yeah, it's just a good flow to the show. Like that's what stuck out to me, and they, didn't dabble in stuff too much. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, I think there was only one lull.
Okay, we'll start off with the negatives. What do you got, Chris?
Well, that wouldn't be my negative.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, since we're talking about it, they spent too much time on Shadow of War.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they did.
Like if you're gonna take that much time for a game, it should have been on a game that nobody knows. Because look, I understand Shadow of War is a sequel, and I know there's some new stuff there, but we already know what Shadow of War is because we know what Shadow of Mordor was. So I would rather have seen that time spent on one of these other experiences, or heck, even a longer Crackdown demo, so I can get more details on what your big flagship for the Xbox One X would be. So for me, that was a lull. I don't think that was for me. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part about the conference was announcing the price of the Xbox One X.
Yeah, I liked how they just slid it in there at the end.
Yeah.
It's $4.99. Okay.
Yeah, I tweeted this out, and I was hoping, or I think I put it on Facebook. I was hoping that because they didn't give the price at the beginning, that they were saving it for like a really big finale at the end. And I was hoping he was going to come out and just kind of be like, guys, everything that you saw is going to be playable on your Xbox One in November. And it's going to cost you $3.99.
Or just say $3.99.
They didn't do that. The reason I think that this is the biggest kind of negative part to the conference is that I just feel like the Xbox One X is not for anybody specific now. It's not going to compete in the console war at $500. It's just not. So if your goal was to take up ground and go after Sony, fast and hard, you do that at $399. You don't do that at $499. So then if you're making the premium jump to $500, then you have to prove that the console is worth the extra money, but because Phil refuses to put anything on the X that he wouldn't put on the Xbox One, which I'm glad he's doing that, but because that's their stance, you're not going to see Xbox One X games. So even though you're paying an extra $100, you're not really getting, that much of a benefit. And then when you throw into the fact that there's not a lot of exclusives, so most third-party games are going to want parity with the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Sure.
So they're not going to push the Xbox One X
Right.
to its extreme,
That's
just
my
in the
point.
just in the way that the PlayStation 3 was a stronger machine, but they didn't push it to its limits because the 360 was the console leader.
Sure.
They're going to do the same thing now. They're not going to leave Xbox or PlayStation Pro out. So really, why are you paying for the premium product unless you just love the product and you love the line and you want to invest in it? It is a great console. It looks amazing. It's going to be great. I just don't know who it's for.
Sure.
And it's at the wrong price.
Right. And I kind of feel like with the Xbox One X, it's for the people who want the best, right? It's for the people that want to pay the extra dollar for the best. And I mean, like
PS4 Pro.
the five.
You mean the best 2 exclusives that they have this year?
Well, no, I'm just saying, it's gonna have faster load times. It's gonna, up-res older games. It's gonna do a bunch of stuff. But I know the $500 price tag is high, and I'm not defending it. I still think it's high as well. But they did I forget what website. It was one of those, like, Digital Foundry, one of those tech websites. I can't remember which one it was. They tried to build a PC with the same specs as the Xbox One X. And the closest they could come was one that wasn't, it was almost there. It was actually less powerful than the X. And it came in at $700.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, they're saying that,
That's just build your own PC. then.
right, but using the same internals and the same, so, I mean, and most time you can build PCs pretty cheap. So
Yeah, but
just,
look,
just the fact that,
I will just say, look, I am not saying, don't put it
Sure.
on record that I'm saying it's not worth it.
Right.
The fact that they fit it into a box that's smaller than the current Xbox One
That's
S
amazing.
is
Yeah,
mind blowing.
that is
It's
pretty amazing.
worth every amount. It's probably worth $600. That's not the question. The
Right.
question is, if you are going after Sony, if you are aggressively trying to win this battle, you cannot do it at $500.
right,
Yeah.
right. Now, outside of the price, I think the other big downfall of their conference for me, Brent, you were talking about how good the flow of the show was for Microsoft. For me, I agreed. It had a great flow, but there were certain games in there I felt like they could have just cut out and put in a scissor reel. Like that Dwarf space game, that Dwarf mining space game. Like
Yeah.
there were a lot of these really odd titles they gave like a good chunk of time to. And I'm like, why did they do that? And they could have cut it below 90 minutes if they would have
Just
cut
show
some of
all
these
the
indie games out and
exclusives.
put them into a scissor reel. I think that would have made the flow a little bit better. But I mean, that was pretty much my biggest complaint from the show.
Yeah, my problem with that, I agree. They should have, if they were just going to show trailers, they should have put them in sizzle reels.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, if I trust Phil, so if Phil thinks that that game deserves its own spotlight on the show, I need you to tell me why.
Right.
Don't just show me a trailer, because you show me a trailer and that game looks like absolute garbage.
Yeah, it does.
I have
It does.
no, I have
No
no
interest.
Most
interest.
of their 4K experiences.
Yeah, look, just like the PlayStation VR experiences. So I have
There's
no.
just
I have,
shots being fired all over the place.
I don't want to
I
play.
agree with that.
I don't want to play Space Dwarves. But if Phil thought that it was important enough to put on stage, he should have gave like a 2-minute demo of this is why this game is cool. But if you're not going to do that, then yeah, you should just throw it into a scissor reel.
Sure.
Because now
Yeah.
I'm like, I watched this 1.5-minute trailer and I have no idea what this is, but it looks like garbage.
Sure. Okay, Brant, your negatives. What you got? Mr.
Well,
Sony,
actually,
what you got?
Chris did most of the heavy lifting for me there. Like the price point,
Yeah.
they would have won the conference if you say, oh, by the way, $399, and then you just drop the mic. It would have won.
Absolutely.
It would have won. It would have been a huge move for them.
Absolutely.
And plus, with the, like you said, with the whole, just the game selection, I don't know. I just feel like it's quantity over quality in some instances. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have
Ashen was another one.
Yeah,
Ashen,
Ashen-
like the art style was good, but I don't really know what that game is, and I don't know why I should care.
I didn't either until I heard a Game Informer podcast this week where what it is, it's got like Dark Souls combat, right? But it's an online multiplayer game where you're like traveling through this cave and you got to like do combat, but you have to solve puzzles. But the puzzles, you have to do it in co-op, right? And the way co-op works in this game, it's like Journey. You can't just jump in someone's game. It's like in Journey where someone just randomly hops in your game.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are. They just appear. That's what this game is going to be like. It's
Yeah,
like
so-
Journey
so
mixed
no-
with Dark Souls.
Number one, that sounds awful. But number two, I had no idea
Yeah.
from what they showed.
I didn't
That
either.
is my problem.
I
with
had
the
no
games
idea.
Like that.
Yeah.
The problem is that all the great 4K games they were showing are running on are playing on the PS4. You can play on the PS4 Pro too, like Assassin's Creed Origins,
Right.
Anthem. These are when they say and the exclusive messaging was very like
I
there's
agree with
some
that.
games you know
Right.
are truly exclusive to Xbox. Most you can play on the PC, and most are timed,
Mhm.
so you don't. It's like they're just using that phrasing just to say this is the best. But
Sure.
like I said, the games they show, like for example, Sony has Days Gone, God of War. They have these games that truly
We're
take
not on
advantage
Sony
of
yet.
4K.
We're not on Sony yet.
But the problem for Xbox, they're showing okay, you can play Minecraft now in 4K. You can
That
play
looked great.
State of
That
Decay
looked
2
great.
Actually, Minecraft
Which looked
with the
like
super
garbage.
duper pack looked great.
Look great.
in 4K.
Which one looked
you
like
can play
garbage?
Sea of Thieves, which has cartoon visuals in 4K. You can in that Doors game. I mean, they just
Those
didn't
games
have.
are gonna look good.
They'll look good, but I'm just saying, like you want to play
I
games like
want-
Horizon.
Sure, but they don't
Horizon or
have a
God
game
of
like
War
that.
or
Yeah, but they don't have a game like that.
Detroit.
I want to play Sea of Thieves in 4K.
Right. Sea of Thieves is gonna look great.
That stuff is gonna
They're
come.
gonna look great. They're gonna look great, but it's not like the whole hyping of this thing. They just didn't show enough like truly exclusive, like I must have like Spider-Man or anything like that.
There
It was
were
just
there was no
Name me
better
a game.
looking game shown this week than Anthem.
Don't say Chroma Squad.
but that's coming to both systems. I'm talking
Sure.
about just a
Sure.
game in general that they're really like Halo or Gears of War. You know, there was nothing
It's
like
coming.
that.
It'll be there.
That's what all I'm saying. This doesn't give me reason to go out and buy an Xbox One.
Agreed.
Like,
I
Right,
agree
right.
with
That,
that.
that's one
Yeah.
thing I do agree with. Like,
That's the
for
problem.
for me, like I've kind of jumped back and forth between Bethesda and Microsoft being my favorite conference. Now, the reason I loved Microsoft so much, because I'll just
Bethesda.
grade it. I'm giving it an A for Microsoft. But
I like
the reason for that is almost every single game they showed is something I'm gonna buy and I'm interested in. Almost everything they showed is gonna it appeals to me as an Xbox owner, right? And getting the X, knowing that like Brant, even though they don't matter much, the 4K, I've got a 4K set. I'll be able to play it in 4K HDR every game I
No,
get.
it's great for people
like,
with 4K.
and so for everything they showed at Microsoft, outside of the dwarves in space and a couple other small things, I thought it was a fantastic show.
There's no boom moment, I guess. Like this game can only be played on Xbox.
Sure.
For Xbox One X, there was definitely no boom,
Right, I
especially,
agree. I agree.
especially with the price.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I would give it an A2. It was one of the best conferences I've seen in a long time. It moved well. It had really good content. They were pretty clear on all the things that we needed to know. Not really any technical difficulties.
Mhm.
Like it was sharp. It looked good. The stage looked good. Sounded great. 4K streaming on Mixer was amazing. Like checked all the boxes. It was great. There were obviously some things that I would have liked to seen different, but at the end of the day, I thought it was just fantastic.
Sure. Okay,
Yeah,
Brant.
the indie showcase was probably the best part for me because
Mhm.
That's
Cuphead,
good.
I want to play that.
Oh, yeah,
so
Cuphead's
bad.
gonna be so good. I forgot about that. September
the
29th?
Ooblets, the Ooblets.
Ooblets.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
That's
Yeah,
all. That's
that
already on
sci-fi
early
game.
access, isn't it?
Um,
Ooblets.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I give it a B for all the reasons I stated.
Sure.
Like, it was a great conference. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Sure.
just lacked something
Sure.
there. The big game,
Yep.
Sure. Now, this next one is also going to be a little divisive for all of us. Well, not all of us, but two of us. Bethesda. Bethesda. I
Land.
love Bethesda. And Brant, actually, I'm going to start it off with the thing I loved about it was the Bethesda Land presentation. I
Yeah,
love the way
that
they
was pretty
tied
cool.
everything together, and like it just flowed really well because of that. I just love that presentation. But Brant, what else did you like? Because I know you and I
liked-
really loved Bethesda's conference.
Yeah, like you said, it was the whole presentation aspect. Like they got a 10 out of 10 with that. Like they could have used some more developers coming out and talking about things, just like short clips or something. But yeah, it just flowed really nicely, and it was short and sweet. Like they just kept going from game to game, and yeah, they hit on the games that were rumored to be there, the big ones, and saved time for them. So that was pretty
And
awesome.
I think they really ended with a bang. Like doing Evil Within and Wolfenstein to end the show was I thought
Yeah,
was
those are their
fantastic.
two heavy hitters
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So good
Chris,
choice.
Chris, I know you weren't as big of a fan because Bethesda and all, but did you like anything about the show?
Yeah, the intro to that show was the best thing I saw at E3. I am a dad. I have I have four
Yeah, that
kids, and that intro where the kids are trying to explain what their parents do at Bethesda just absolutely just captured me. I thought it was adorable and fantastic, and that was so great.
Oh yeah.
And I will say I think the demo of Wolfenstein 2 was really well done. It's not really a game that I have a lot of interest in, but it did enough to make me be like, maybe this is something I may actually pick up and play. So and it started with that great like old 50s Lassie.
Oh yeah, that's
where
right.
the girl's
the
like
commercial, yeah.
Lucy or what was
I can't remember what it was called. Yeah.
That was so awesome.
yeah.
Oh, it was so
Yeah,
great.
that was good.
Like
Luke-
live action
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like different
Lucille,
commercials.
and then the dog like catches it on fire.
Like
and
this
just
big
too
German.
bad girl. And yeah, I thought
great.
it was the whole thing. I thought was just that
They're so good at
presentation made me
presenting
care
games.
about a game that if you would have told me going into it that the highlight of their show was going to be Wolfenstein, I would have been like, well, I'm not even going to watch it because I have no interest in that. So, but it actually looked great. I thought it was really well done.
Okay. Well, what didn't you like?
Pretty much everything else. Outside of the intro, the really cool transitions of Bethesda Land and then Wolfenstein, everything else was a pile of garbage trash. I don't like the spooky, so Evil Within I have no interest for. I could care less about VR anything, so that was a waste of my time. I did, that one interesting moment where Link in Skyrim looked like Razor Ramon, addicted to heroin, rubbed down with Vaseline. That wasn't too interesting for me either. There were absolutely nothing in the show that I liked. So sorry.
Okay. Well,
It's just not for me. It's not my show.
Sure.
Sorry.
Brant, what didn't you like? Because I think what I didn't like kind of plays off what you said before. It was just trailer after trailer after trailer. And it was a great flow, but I do wish they had some developers come out and talk about some of the games. That's probably my biggest negative of the show. But
Yeah,
what do you got?
Yeah, that would be mine too. But also they lacked like that Fallout 4. Like when they revealed that at the couple E3s ago, that was so amazing. Like they just spent most of their time on because everybody knew they wanted Fallout 4 and they hit it hard and it was so awesome. I like Wolfenstein and the Evil Within too, and they spend a good amount of time explaining things, showing it off. They're the best presenters at any games that they have, which is their forte. But yeah, it didn't have the, like you said, Fallout. I was expecting Elder Scrolls 6 maybe to be in some capacity there, so that was sort of a letdown.
Now, one thing I do like that you mentioned, Brant, like last year, they said, here's Fallout 4. It's coming in, November or whatever time it was. Like, here's the game. It's coming out. Now, this year, they did the same thing. Like, we didn't technically know Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 were coming. They were rumored, but now they're like, look, they're here. Oh, by the way, they're coming out in October, November this year. So they revealed something like big games, and they are coming out this year.
Yeah, that's a big possibility.
Wait, was that? I thought Fallout was 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? No, I think was it 2 years ago? Maybe
Fallout
2 years
4, it could have been 2 years ago.
'Cause I'm trying to
That's
think.
why I said a couple years ago, but maybe I was wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was great though.
That was so awesome.
The one thing I was really hoping for, and I'll just throw this in here, is that year of Fallout, which I think was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years because last year's Fallout DLC, I think, was their big.
Yeah. But they they talked a lot about Fallout, but then they announced and made available that day Fallout Shelter on iOS.
Oh yeah.
And so I was kind of hoping for something like that. Like it would have been cool to have some kind of like Wolfenstein, app or something. You know, I like those kind of things
Save
where
the
it's kind of out of
people in
nowhere.
the
Yeah.
city simulator or something. Yeah.
Brant,
something.
how would you rate Bethesda?
I'd also give them a B.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a great conference.
Yeah.
Lacked in some areas, but yeah, I enjoy watching it the whole time. So
Yeah, and I think I'd give it a B as well, just for the fact, like, I'm not really into VR. I don't have VR, although I'd love to play Fallout VR, but the other VR games didn't really interest me, and
yeah, I hope
and
that's coming for
Yeah.
PSVR.
that'd be cool.
Be cool.
Chris, since it's an absolute big pile of garbage, like you said, what would you rate?
Yeah, I would. I mean, look, I would give it. I would give it a B too.
Oh, wow. We're agreeing on everything tonight. This is crazy.
Look, I think
Mr. Hyperbole.
I think that they are one of the better of the groups of just owning their product and showing it. It's not necessarily for me. Most of their games I really just don't like, but you know, they're passionate about it. I do wish they had more developers because they lead you with that piece of showing the kids with their developers, and so they have like this really great affinity for their teams, and it would have been nice to see more of them on stage. But like, I mean, what they showed was solid, and I know that stuff is stuff that people want. I mean, I'm not blind to the fact that the things that I like aren't what everybody else likes, and vice versa. So I get
cough,
that.
cough,
so,
Chroma Squad. Cough, cough.
So yeah, Chroma Squad would have won the show if it was shown at E3 because it was amazing.
Let's talk about something you love. I think it may have been your favorite conference, Ubisoft.
Yeah,
So
Ubisoft was great.
Tell us what you loved about Ubisoft.
You know,
Brant, what did you...
for me, I feel like Ubisoft has the most diverse lineup. In that we started with flipping Shigeru Miyamoto on stage with a Mario gun, a bullet bill gun. And we talked about Mario and Rabbids. Then we get to things like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 5, which basically talks about, you know, a religious, crazy person murdering people in a county in Montana. And then we have this really insanely uncomfortable beatbox dance party.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Just Dance, man.
And then we kind of circle back around and shore things up with the friggin' Olympics. I just love that. I think that they have the most diverse portfolio. They showed South Park, the Fractured Butthole, and I was dying laughing. It was so good. And then they showed the South Park.
Call Girl. That's right. What you held the cell phone?
Call Girl. So good, man. But then I love right after she does the Call Girl thing and she it's like zips away. Then Cartman's like, I guess everybody can be a superhero now. And it's just like, I love the phone game. They revealed the phone game, which
Phone
also
Destroyer
looks amazing.
or something. Yeah.
I just think that they have such a diverse library, and I talked about Starlink earlier, which is what was on the Ubisoft stage. I thought that that was right up my alley. I just think that they have the most games that I want to play. And I thought they did
Evil
a good
2.
job. Oh my God,
that's
right.
That was the
boom moment. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was amazing. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great press conference.
Cool. Well, Brant, what did you love about Ubisoft?
Yeah, like what Chris said, they just I liked how they show the trailer, then a different guy, a developer, would come out and he explain it. Then they go into gameplay. It was just like that for every game. Like every game had its perfect balance of showing it off, and I think it really helped that one woman wasn't there, Aisha Taylor or whatever.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, Womanwood or Girlwood, whatever.
Some people said they missed her, but I'm like, whatever.
No, I don't.
So much better.
I don't like her.
Idiot.
She was way too crude for no reason.
Yeah.
Right, and it just came off snarky and But they really did. It was probably my best Ubisoft conference I've ever seen. Like usually I'm just like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good flow. They presented games a diverse variety, like you said. Some I didn't care for, but I mean,
Sure.
they're hitting all the marks, you know.
Yeah.
And then they also had that big announcement that no one was expecting.
Oh yeah.
Beyond Good.
No,
Ooh.
Biggity tweeted Marty Sleva, "I will eat my coffee mug if they show
That's right.
Beyond Good Evil 2." And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah.
So
No.
that a big announcement and awesome game. So
The only bad thing about Beyond Good and Evil 2, from what I read,
It's gonna
it
be
hasn't even
long
started
ways
development
away.
yet.
yeah, it's gonna be.
That was
so
just a CGI trailer to talk proof of
2019,
concept.
2020.
Yeah, it hadn't even started.
Well, no. I mean, they developed the technology that's going to build it.
Right, but I mean the actual
They
game.
just haven't started the actual game.
It's gonna
right.
take a long time. But
Yeah,
it's just cool that they did that, you know,
I
because
agree.
every other conference
I agree.
lacked that. This
Yeah,
year.
that's
You
very
know?
true. Yeah,
I agree.
Now, one thing I will say that's funny about Ubisoft, Brant, that you mentioned, that's the only conference that's not really like family friendly. Because I mean, how many f bombs they drop
Yeah.
like in Beyond Good and
South
Evil
Park.
trailer, yeah, South Park. But no, like for my thing, I liked about Ubisoft. Pretty much what you guys said. Had a great flow from the opening with Mario Rabbids and Miyamoto coming out, and the developer pretty
That
much
was awesome.
crying because
Oh
he
man,
was
he
so
was
happy.
balling so good.
And it's just like, it was great. It just had a great flow to it from beginning to end. And past Ubisoft shows, I always dreaded watching them because they're always way too long. Like I remember the year they unveiled South Park, Fractured But Whole. Remember where they they showed a trailer and they
no,
showed
that's the
gameplay.
stick. That was the stick.
Stick of Truth.
Oh, was it?
Because I remember they showed trailer
Matt and
then
Trey.
Matt Trey came out and talked. Then they
that
showed
took forever.
gameplay and then Matt and Trey talked. And they showed another trailer. I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like it was just actually no, I think it was Fracture But Whole because they did it was like the superhero parody trailer. Then they showed the gameplay. Then they showed more superhero parody stuff. And like they used to do that all the time. I think they learned from their mistakes because this year they fixed all that.
Yeah,
Although
I agree.
I guess to hop into the negatives, the only really negative I had for their show was just the fact that a lot of it wasn't for me. Like I don't care about Steep. Me personally, I'm not interested in Far Cry 5. I never played the original Beyond Good and Evil. So for me, the
Who
only
are
things
you?
that really stood out were Rabbids,
That's more
Assassin's
preference, like-
Creed, right? And so I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I mean, outside of them dropping the F bomb a lot, I mean, there wasn't really many negatives from that show for me.
Yeah, yeah. I'll jump in next. I mean, I honestly don't really have any negatives. I mean, I did not.
I don't
like,
care about the crew too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But you know what? Look, you know what? To Josh's point earlier, they came out. The developer came out and explained what they were
Yes.
doing. They showed a demo of it. Dude, you got planes,
Yeah.
you got helicopters, you got boats, you got motor. I don't know, man. It looked kind of cool. I mean, I will
They're
say
trying something
I left
unique.
with a positive. I left with a positive vibe. I don't think I'll play it, but I definitely left with a much more positive vibe
Sure.
on that game. I didn't like the dancers. Look,
Oh,
they
yeah.
Well, that happens every
Just-
year.
look, listen. Let this sink in. Just Dance 2018 is being released for the Wii
Yeah, the Wii, which made Wii and Wii U
and Wii,
and
well,
Switch.
of course.
It's come out
Wii
on all
and-
three
Because
Nintendo
it
consoles.
sells.
Because it sells. So I understand why they do it. I just wish they wouldn't have stupid people up there dancing like idiots.
Yeah.
But
It was
whatever.
a lot less
They
than
had-
last year.
That's
Every year
true.
it gets
Didn't have the
less.
giant
That's
giraffes
true.
this year. They just had a big monkey.
That's
so.
true. That's true. But like in all honesty, I for me, they've done this very consistently the last 3 or 4 years, where they will reveal a game that comes out the next year that's like their big game.
Mm-hmm.
So they did this with Far Cry Primal. They did this with The Division. And so I kind of felt like, we didn't even mention stinking Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah,
So-
Skull and Bones, yeah, the pirate game.
but the big boom, like we said, was Beyond Good and Evil. But that game is at least probably 3 or 4 years out,
Right.
at least, right? So
Right.
there wasn't everything else. Was mostly like for like the foreseeable future. Far Cry's in February, and Steep is in December, and it's AC's this year, and Starlink does come out next fall, but Starlink is not
That'll
like,
probably be
a
delayed to
AAA.
2019.
Yeah. So I was really hoping to see Splinter Cell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell would have kind of fit that kind of that. Hey, guess what?
Action.
Here's your first look at Splinter Cell. this is going to be our big game next year. They didn't do that, so that I was a little disappointed. They didn't kind of hype up their next big ticket item. So
Okay. Well, Brant, what do you got? Have any negatives?
Yeah, there was really not a whole lot of negatives. I enjoyed the conference a lot, actually.
Cool.
Like Chris, like there were just some games that I just don't care for, but that's more of a personal preference.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the flow, like I said, every show this year was actually overall.
Yeah, that's the whole thing from the C3. There wasn't like the Year of Dreams, you know.
No Wonder Book. Yeah.
Yeah. But they were all good, and same with Ubisoft was probably the best of the third party conferences.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
agree. Well, Brant, I guess what would you rate Ubisoft then?
I'd say B plus, A minus, somewhere in there.
I was thinking A minus as well. I think, like I said, overall it had a great flow to it, and outside of the dancing and things like that, I was pretty good with
they
it.
have to do.
yeah, I mean, I'd give it a solid A, and that ties it with Microsoft for me. And I go back and forth depending on the day. You know how I like to flip flop between who I actually thought was best. Yeah, who I actually thought was best. But yeah, I thought Ubisoft completely nailed what they were doing. So yeah, it's a solid A for me.
It's surprising, yeah.
Cool. Well, Brant, we're gonna mosey on into your territory. So
Mosey.
let's kick things off. What did you love about Sony?
Well, first of all, when you're in a theater with hundreds of other Sony fanboys, it's a lot of fun.
How to go over when there was no sound at for the first trailer?
That was awesome. Yeah, that was
so bad. I was so mad watching that.
Come on. Any day now. Yeah, that was.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, Brand actually went to the theater. They sell tickets.
They have a PlayStation experience in cities all over America. You
Nowhere
have to
near me.
be one of the first.
Yeah. There was one near me, but I just didn't care.
Right. So, but yeah, the conference overall, it was great. The games they show were great. I like that they're all they didn't go way out. You know, it's keeping it within this year in 2018, which was nice. But I think in doing that, they lost some of that allure of bringing something brand new there.
Sure.
Really. I guess we'll go to the negatives, but the positives for me were just that. Yeah, I just like all the games they showed were awesome. Detroit.
Yeah.
Days Gone, God of War. It just reinforced my notion that yes, I'm glad I'm with Sony. I have Sony systems. You know, they showed some cool VR games. Like I wasn't expecting Elder Scrolls, but for the love, it's going to be a full price game. I wish it was just an add-on because I bought the remastered version again.
Yeah, sure.
The
the Skyrim VR. So that doesn't make any sense. You think they'd put some kind of add-on for that to the regular game.
Yeah.
Like maybe charge $10 or $20 or something.
They know people will buy Skyrim again, and that's the problem. Like I don't think they could get Fallout 4 running on it, or like the PC build. So they probably just said, okay, you can have Skyrim, which I like Skyrim.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, for my positives, Brant, it's kind of just bouncing off what you said. I think they showed 18 games. I think is what the last count I heard, and pretty much. I learned more on the games I wanted to learn more about. I wanted to see more God of War. They had it. I wanted to see more. I definitely want to see more Detroit. They had it. You know, it's like in more Days Gone. So the stuff I wanted to learn more about, it was there. It didn't disappoint. So that was really nice. Now, I would say one bummer, Detroit still doesn't have a release date. But now they showed a lot of really cool things. So, I mean, I'm happy with that.
That's a good thing. They showed their major releases, you know.
Right. Now, Chris, we know how much you love Sony. What thing did you love about Sony?
I think I'll pass.
The hanging zombies bit was
that was
cool,
crazy.
The presentation was pretty cool though, right, Chris?
You watched it. You actually sat down and watched the PlayStation conference. So
no, so this is what I'll say. I like that. For the first time in a long time, I give Sony a lot of crap for one specific thing, and that is blowing smoke up your yin yang. And
Chris,
and I
all the time.
Is that not where smoke goes?
Right, go for it.
Oh, sorry. I think that they did a great job of showing us stuff that is in the foreseeable future. Outside of Detroit, I feel like everything they showed for the most part, is pretty imminent. Whereas in the past, they show you Shenmue 3, which is a Kickstarter that hasn't even started development yet. They show you Kingdom Hearts, which is still 3 or 4 years out. They show you Final Fantasy, which is they show you
Death. 2 years ago?
They show you Death Stranding, which is literally going to come back after Jesus comes back. So I will say they didn't show any of that. There was no Final Fantasy, no Final Fantasy 7, no Kingdom Hearts, no Death Stranding, no Shenmue. Like none of that stuff was there. And I think so. Hopefully, I think Sony learned their lesson going all the way back to Last Guardian, where they showed that game for like 10 years or whatever it was. It was a long time, and that's the kind of stuff that really kind of just rubs me the wrong way. And I like that they came out and everything that they showed, I could see out realistically within 24 months.
Right.
Detroit's on the line.
I think Detroit probably like next December, maybe.
Yeah, which
like
again,
end
which
of
is
next year.
Which is still within 24 months.
Then.
Yeah,
we thought Cuphead was going to come out for like the last 2 years.
That's true. And look, I'm not. And again, before anybody starts throwing hate, I'm not saying Microsoft.
Throw your haterade.
I'm not saying Microsoft is immune to this, but Sony is known for showing stuff really, really early. Now, what it does is it really hypes up the crowd. So, can we just go back? Can we just go into negatives real quick?
Yeah, that's fine. You can jump in negatives. We all knew you were going to bring them, so unpack the suitcase.
I will say that for me the biggest negative was Sony didn't have a mic drop moment. But I think that is in direct correlation with them trying to be realistic. Right. When they came out and said, we are remaking Final Fantasy VII, people literally ripped their shirts and wept like children.
Believe me, James was worried I was going to rape him there.
He jumped up, stuck his hand out, and goes, in your face! Like, that was his reaction. And then he found out it wasn't even exclusive.
That's funny. And then but then they come out and they're like, hey, you know what you guys really liked 10 years ago? Shenmue, and now we're gonna bring it back, and everybody lost their mind. So those are huge moments, but and they do great for the boom of the room, but they're really a detriment to the overall presentation and to the overall value of the brand. So I feel like that they honed that in this year, but because they did, I don't feel like they had a single moment where it was like, holy crap, Sony just knocked it out.
Shadow of the Colossus was the closest.
It was pretty big.
Now, I guess I'll hop into my negatives, and mine are the same.
Oh wait, I have other negatives. I also hated all of the games.
Okay,
so
there you
I
go.
just
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't like Spider-Man though. But sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Well, my biggest negative.
You said Spider-Man was trash.
Well, he just said he hated Spider-Man. That's what he just said.
I did. That's my negative.
Okay.
No. I did not like Spider-Man.
Now I guess I'll hop into mine. My biggest negative is kind of like what you were both alluding to. There was no boom in the room, as Chris said.
Hey man, look, you know what they say. You know what they say. A boom in the room is better than a boom in the pants. That's what they say.
Boom in your face.
Okay, but because of that, because there was no big boom moment, because I'm saving up for this with this One X, right? I'm gonna upgrade my Xbox again. I'm gonna get the X to enjoy my 4K TV and all this stuff. I was like, if PlayStation showed something where I'm like, I absolutely have to play it, I would get a PS4 Pro instead and wait on the X. But there was nothing at this show that I saw where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to play it. Like, so I guess that's the biggest complaint I have. Like, it had great flow. It was a great show. I was glad to see more of the games I was interested in, which I'll probably get around playing at your place, Brant, or something like that, just to try out. But there was nothing there that made me say I have to have a PS4.
Which is funny because that's kind of the same thing that Josh said.
For Xbox, exactly.
It all comes down to preference. This is the problem with the
preference
this year is neither one of them did a good enough job to make new people.
Exactly. It was each first-party show was just for the fans and nobody else. So, Brant, do you have any negatives for Sony?
I do, and it's not so much what was there, but what wasn't.
Okay.
And you guys hit on this with the big boom moments, but
Boom in the room.
I was ready to lose my marbles. No, it's really funny. I have to look this up real fast.
Let's
here.
lose my marbles. Oh my gosh.
No, I have to. Ah, shoot.
Oh,
Where is
man.
it?
That was great.
Okay. Now, there's this funny meme that I found. But it was that. This is going to take too
We need
too long
memes
to
for
find.
Boom in the Room. And
Oh, here it
Lose My
is. Here it is.
Marbles.
Okay. So at the end of the conference, they come. Sean Layden, the main man, he comes out and says, "Now let me leave you with a true PlayStation exclusive from one of the industry's most respected developers."
Okay.
What does that tell you? When he
It
says
definitely doesn't tell me Hideo Kojima.
what it says is from most respected developers, I'm thinking From Software
Oh, of course you will.
and Miyazaki,
Yeah.
the man that created Dark Souls and Demon Souls. So when it came up and there was a city, I was like, crap, it's Spider-Man, which it's a good. I like Spider-Man.
Yep.
But it was just like Bloodborne 2 wasn't previously known. We'd known about Spider-Man.
Sure.
If that would have been the boom moment. Like that would have been the yes. Praise
he would
the
have
sun
started
moment. And-
crying in that movie theater.
Yeah, but I will say, back to the point, and I agree with you that they should have had something at the end
Yeah,
to
right.
to
just
blow the roof
new,
off.
something new.
But
yeah.
but if internally they're like, we cannot realistically have Bloodborne ready until 2020 or even
Those guys are
2019.
good. Yeah.
No,
It'd
no,
be
but
2019.
just listen. Just because you're saying that, they may have not even really started working on it yet, or
Sure.
they might not be far along. So
Yeah.
rather than do what somebody we're going to talk about in just a minute did, and just jerk your chain. That I think Sony was very smart, and they were like, we're going to show you stuff that you can play, and I get that you lose the momentum, and I totally get your criticism, because I kind of felt that way a little bit with Microsoft too. Like for me, the boom moment was OG Xbox games. They didn't show anything first party that was a boom moment for me either. So
Yeah.
I get that, but I do think it was cool that they came out and showed you stuff that you're going to be realistically playing very soon.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do think
No.
that's interesting that Sony ended with a game we already knew about, right? And
Yeah, it looked great.
Microsoft ended with a game that was announced the night before.
Brand new, yeah.
So it's just like
was
we
great.
already knew it was there and they hadn't shown it yet. So we're like, obviously they're ending with this. So you're
Yeah.
right, there were no surprises. But sorry, Brant. Go
And
ahead.
yeah, I'll just further this along for the negatives. They had this nice hour before that they were showing all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't going to be at the conference, and like their best, like some of these announcements would have been great at the conference, like Undertale. That was a lot of people's
Undertale's
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
last
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nino
And
Kuni
it's
2.
coming. Yeah, Nino Kuni 2. That would have
Yeah.
been and people know about that, but that's a big deal, and that's
Yeah.
coming out likely this year. But Undertale, it has a PS4 and Vita. The
Yep.
trailer was awesome. It would have been great in the conference. And then Supermassive, who made Until Dawn, they showed their new game, a brand new game that looks really cool. It's like you're a detective and a cop, and you play on your smartphone like you have 4 other people,
Huh.
and you're like trying to disguise clues or something.
Oh,
It's really
that's
That,
unique.
that is really cool.
It's really unique concept.
That
And
sounds cool.
it-
So it's
would've
kind
been-
it's kind of like the Jackbox, but it's actually an event, like an
Adventure
a
game.
story.
Yeah,
that's
like
cool.
people
That's
can
awesome.
just have their
I like
cell
that.
phone
That is
there.
really
And
cool.
that's sort of, they didn't hit on that in the conference. It's called PlayLink or something. Like they're going to have more games that take advantage of this.
That's awesome.
I
I,
guess.
like that.
So
I like
that would have just been another great game to hit on, but
Yeah.
they didn't.
So-
And
So what would you rate the show, Brant?
I'd say B. I'd say both Sony and Microsoft were about the same.
Okay.
You can, it just varies between the two who you
Right,
prefer.
right.
Like, of course, I prefer PlayStation. So,
And
but they're both about the same. Like, I wish they would have had, like Sean Layden just came out there, the games. I wish
yeah,
they would have talked more about other stuff. But
sure. And I think I would go with a B plus on this one, just for the fact that they didn't show anything bad, right? They showed
Yeah.
it. Everything they showed was good. So that's great. So Chris, what would you say
I
for Sony?
You know what? Tell you what, I'm gonna round out the B's here, and I'm gonna go B minus.
Okay.
Look, I'm known as the anti-Sony guy, and I'm okay with that. I proudly wear that. If I could,
It's a
if I had
badge of honor,
shirt,
sir.
if I had a shirt that said "I hate Sony," I would wear it.
Just have a big picture of your grinning face and have it say "I hate Sony."
Yeah. But at the same time, I try to be objective and
Sure.
look. They did a good job of showing really great content. The one thing Sony is nailing right now is exclusive content.
Right.
I mean, God of War, Spider-Man, Days Gone, Detroit. Like these are all 100%
Yes, 100%.
exclusive experiences, not on PC, not on Xbox. Like they are PlayStation exclusive, and that is super super cool. And that leads credence to even owning a platform like that. So I think that's cool. I think the presentation was good. I like that they didn't add a lot of fluff. They didn't come out and talk about numbers or crap like that. They just stuck to the games, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say B minus is where I'd put it.
That it was actually, if you think about it, overall this year, every show in E3 past, they always talked about the numbers. How's our sales? How's a game selling? Blah blah blah. This year there was none of it. It was just like trailer. It was great. Everybody was on the same page this year.
Yep.
So let's hop into another company. The last conference. Well, not
Yes,
really
forgot
conference.
about
It was a
this.
direct
I have-
spotlight.
I have been
And-
waiting for this one.
Oh,
This
no.
company is known
I show
as Nintendo.
enthusiasm.
Now,
Nintendo.
before we get over to Chris,
And
Brant, let's start with you. What did you think of Nintendo?
Now wait. So now we're just talking about the digital presentation.
We're just talking about, because Brant couldn't talk about the other games that Sony showed before the show, so we
Okay.
can't. We're just talking about the
All right.
presentation itself.
All right, good.
And now we can still talk about that thing after, but
Yeah,
we'll
you
start with
can after.
just
The score is just getting lower and lower.
Right,
Go
okay.
ahead. That's fine.
Brant. What do you got?
Mr. our Nintendo
Flip-flopper.
fanboy over there is having some.
Go for it.
Yeah, there was a lot when I watched this. I was really just Nintendo has that joking matter about them that I can't explain, and I don't get it. Like I was just like, sort of like cringeworthy.
These are positives, Brand. These are
I was
positives.
gonna say that we're going for positives first. Did you like anything?
I don't just I like Kirby. I know there's going to be a Kirby game.
Yeah.
I care for that.
My positive is I know
there's gonna be a Kirby
for
game.
my kids.
Question mark. I am Rod Bergen.
Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, that was the positive. That was the big positive. Like Chris didn't like the music, but I thought was
Oh, the music was horrible.
funny. I liked it a lot. I thought it fit the theme well, but yeah,
Oh, you
Super
mean
Mario Odyssey
You
was
mean
definitely
the
the
theme
highlight.
of sucking? Because it did fit the theme of sucking real bad.
Sure.
That's that, and they had a big boom announcement, I guess. Too.
What would you say is the big?
No,
boom?
they didn't.
Wait,
If you
wait,
say it-
Chris,
if you
Chris,
say
wait.
it, I'm gonna
this-
disconnect this call.
This is
Lost
Brant's
my mind.
moment. What was the big boom?
I'm gonna disconnect.
Brant, what was the boom?
4.
I hate you.
Metro
I
Prime
know.
4?
Get your crap
I
out
didn't
of
say-
here.
I
But
thought you were gonna say
people were
Pokemon.
Because people have been waiting forever
Yeah.
for.
And guess
Metro.
what? They're gonna keep waiting forever. Because
so
it's a
far.
friggin' logo that was
But
made in
that's-
Photoshop
yeah.
5 minutes before the show went on.
Right. Well, Pokemon the RPG when that guy announced too. That's ways off too.
I don't even want to talk about that either.
Yeah.
We're going to, but I don't want to.
Okay, is that what you got,
So
Brant?
yeah, Super Mario Odyssey. I want that game.
Okay.
That's about.
Yeah, and for me, I've always loved Nintendo games. I always buy Nintendo consoles for first-party games, and I mean they delivered on that for me because, like you said, Brant, Super Mario Odyssey is coming. I'm not a huge fan of the hat mechanic. Because when I play a Mario game, I want to play as Mario. I want his abilities to run and jump and flip and all that stuff. And when you throw a hat on
has that
something,
still.
well, no, not necessarily. If you become, a
Bullet
chain
Bill.
chomp or you become a bullet bill, you lose all those abilities.
Change the
I
mechanics,
don't know. So we'll see. I mean, I know Nintendo delivers awesome products, and so I know I'm gonna play it. I'm probably gonna love it, but right now it's just not hitting me hit me right. But I mean, I'm excited because I'm not a huge Kirby fan, but that new Kirby game actually looked pretty cool. Multiplayer, that's something my wife and I could play. Looks great. I adored Yoshi's Woolly World the year that came out. It was my favorite game that year. So I'm excited for a new Yoshi game. Looks really good. I guess that's it for positives for me. I mean, I've got some negatives. But Chris, you have to say a positive. You have to.
Wait, that we did not talk about that rule before we started.
You have to give a positive.
There has
Just say
to be a
one thing,
positive,
and then we'll
man.
hop into Brant's negatives. We'll come to you last because I know you have a whole truckload. So give us a positive. One.
Okay, so
Activity
let
on this.
me say this. First and foremost, the only thing that I liked that they
Don't tell me that it ended because that's
the only thing that I like that they announced, they did not announce during the presentation.
Okay.
Metroid Samus Returns is the only thing that matters. Now, that being said,
That's that's not even coming to Switch.
Nope, 3DS.
That's a negative.
I don't want Switch games. So
What is this?
I have to. I didn't know we had this wacky rule change where I have to do something.
This
But,
wacky rule.
so if I had to pick something, I would say hands down the only positive that came out of the Nintendo's conference is that Rocket League is coming to Switch.
Oh yeah, I forgot
yeah.
about that.
Well, actually, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say that proves that they're working on not only third party relationships, but really big important third parties. Rocket League is one of the most played games. When you look at Twitch streams and you look at playtime, you see things like Overwatch, you see things like Dota, but Rocket League's right up there with those games. And to get that on the Switch platform is fantastic. That was a great get. It was a great announcement. So, and then you're gonna get a Mario hat on top of your car. I mean, come on.
Sure. Now, I will say the funny thing is, almost every website on the internet has Nintendo as the best conference of E3.
I don't understand.
And we all feel exactly the opposite, which is kind of funny because they're Nintendo. Well, should I go to my negatives, Brant, or do you want to start?
You can go.
I just want to go last.
Okay.
So-
I just want to say my biggest negative with Nintendo is they're pulling a Sony. Everything is super far out or not dated, right? Because I'm
Kirby
excited for Kirby and Yoshi. They're
Those will come out
possibly
soon,
next
I
year.
think.
They don't even have titles yet. It was just Kirby and Yoshi. I mean, it was very basic. It was very basic gameplay demos. We don't know when it's coming out. Metroid Prime. It just said, by the way, we're working on this. Like that
So
was it. There was
stupid.
nothing.
Oh. There is nothing that has infuriated me.
Wait, we're not due yet. It's not due yet.
Than Metroid Prime 4.
Shh.
People are gonna hate you, man.
Okay.
Joey Ferris is over here screaming at us.
Okay. But yeah, my biggest problem with Sony and like Pokemon, by the way, we've started working on it. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, it's so far out, we don't even have a date. And so Nintendo in the past has always been awesome when they show E3 stuff. This is coming out in the next outside of Breath of the Wild, it's like 6 to 12 months, everything shows out. They've always been that way. It's been awesome. This year was just they wanted to show you the Switch has stuff coming. Like, we got ARMS this month, or this week.
They didn't.
I didn't buy ARMS, right? We've got
bought it.
Splatoon coming. Yeah, we got Splatoon coming in
Our
August.
Sony guy did.
Right, yeah. We got Splatoon coming in August, right? We got Metroid Odyssey in October. And we
No, not Metroid. That's Mario.
I'm
bro.
sorry, Mario. You have Metroid. Mario Odyssey in October, and then Xenoblade, I think, possibly in December. So we do have some big titles coming. But the ones we've known about, since the E3, or since the Nintendo Switch
We have
unveiling.
Final Fantasy Warriors is coming too.
Okay. But my biggest complaint is just that things were pushed out so far. I mean, that they unveiled stuff they shouldn't have unveiled yet. Because like Chris said, if they could have shown a Metroid game during the Direct, but instead they showed a logo for, if they would have said, what they should have done, showed the Metroid 2DS
They should
game
have not
first.
even came
Wait.
to the show.
Show the Metroid 3DS game first. At the end of it, tag it, say, "Don't worry, a game's coming for Switch." Right? Like they should have done something
Maybe at the end, sure.
to pad it, because I felt like most of what they showed is a ways off. That's my biggest negative. But Brant, what's your negative? I still enjoyed it, but that was my biggest negative.
It goes back to Sony winning all the past 2 years because, well, erratically, because they had the announcements that about these games that aren't coming out forever, and that's what Nintendo did this time, and it paid off. As you can see, many people were saying this is the best conference, and
So now you see how it feels whenever they're voting for Sony, and we're over here in Xbox land saying, "Are you lost your mind?"
That's what I was going to get to. I understand now, because being on the winning side, you understand. But like this year with Sony, it was like, okay, it's more realistic, but I still liked it.
Yeah.
And with Nintendo, it's just like, the negatives are just that, like you said, most of these games, like. I don't even know. I just don't like their. I must not be into their types of presentations.
Sure.
Like, I just don't like how they like him getting the Master Sword and sticking it. Well, I just don't like their tree houses. I guess. Yeah. I mean, Mario Odyssey. That's the best thing I gathered from it. And, yeah. There's just a lot like Metroid Prime 4. I want to play, but. It's not like super like something that I want real bad. So
okay, Brant. Now, before I let the monkey out of the cage, I want to say I think it's hilarious how Chris and I have always been the big promoters of Nintendo, right? We've always loved Nintendo, big Nintendo gamers. And Nintendo this year, everyone's saying they won E3, and we're like the biggest people down on it, which I just think is really funny.
That's hilarious.
So okay, Chris. So the floor is yours
to smather.
All right, you better start a timer so I don't.
Now you can start in a minute.
All right, so here's
now you can let it out of the box. Do what you got to do.
I absolutely think that this presentation was a giant travesty. This is one of the worst E3 presentations I've ever seen.
Oh man!
Right, first off, it starts with Reggie talking some freaking BS about the game is the battle and the battle is the game. What are we even doing?
I like the virtual.
Right now?
He was just standing in like a virtual ground. It looks so bad.
Why are you there? You have hands the size of Volkswagens. Hold something. Do something.
Dude, he has gotten big, man. He's buffed out.
So that was trash. Anyway, whatever that was. And they showed some kind of game. I don't know. It was some kind of BS game. Then they go to the dude. With the bangs. With the bowl cut. Like, bro, you're going to be seen by millions of people. That's the best haircut you got?
It's big in Japan.
Listen. And then he talked about he was like, we just want you to know everybody really likes Switch. Like, yeah, we know. Why are you telling us this? Okay, that's out of the way. Then we get to the Pokemon guy. This is my problem with the Pokemon guy. You go to the Pokemon guy and he's writing on a tablet of paper and he's like, "Oh, hi." It's like, this is a recorded presentation. Find something better to do than that. So he announces that we have Pokemon coming. Here's my problem with Pokemon coming. Pokemon coming to the Switch means that the 3DS is dead.
Yes, so, thank you.
But that's not
positive.
Well, that's for another conversation, another day. I would rather play my 3DS. So announcing it now is basically just putting it's basically just like walking up to a tombstone and just going ahead and filling in the year on the 3DS. Like, you're just putting in the year 2019 because this thing is dead in 2 years. So I think that was completely anticlimactic for them to announce that like that. To announce it like that, they didn't have. There was nothing to share about it. He's just like, oh, we had a direct a couple days ago and you all got really mad. So we just want to let you know we're gonna make something. I mean, their whole presentation was an answer for all of the crap that they've done wrong. And so then we get, I can just imagine them sitting around being like, hey, we're going to show everybody a new Metroid, but they're going to get really pissed whenever it's not Metroid Prime. So we got to do something.
They did want another Federation Force on their hands.
And then they had an intern was like, I can use Photoshop. It's like, yes, just take everything from Metroid Prime 3 and just kind of recolor it. It'll be great. Just make sure it's a 4. I actually thought they were announcing Fantastic Four, the game, which I would have probably been more.
Fantasy
I probably would have been more excited about. It isn't a game. There's nothing there. Now, Josh mentioned this whenever we talked about Ubisoft, and we talked about how they haven't even started development on Beyond Good and Evil. But you know what they did? They freaking showed something.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Or
mean,
Death Stranding.
something.
Yeah.
Something.
Good show.
Not
What's his name?
a
Maritas with a umbilical
logo.
cord attached to a baby on the beach.
Exactly. Look, I will be honest with you. I do not understand how every Nintendo fan that watched E3 is not incredibly insulted and mad that Metroid Prime 4 was announced that way. This is one of the most sought after games on a Nintendo platform, one of the most beloved franchises, and we've been constantly screwed over getting Metroid games. And yet the internet exploded like it was freaking Christmas.
Yeah, you could watch.
You should be mad. If you
That's what they like when they sold Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Look, if you are watching this and you are a Nintendo fan, you should be insulted that they announced one of the biggest games coming to their platform with a freaking Photoshop logo. That you should be embarrassed that is what you're looking forward to.
Now, Brant, I have a quick question for you, Brant.
Yeah.
How many listeners do you think we've lost so far? How many subscribers have unsubscribed?
Every Nintendo. Yeah.
Listen, come back for James.
They need to come into reality. No, I think your hate's a little misplaced, but I do agree with you.
I agree with the Metroid Prime
best.
logo because that's not a Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
Nintendo never does that, and I think they felt desperate because so many people were
'cause they had
asking
nothing
about.
else to show.
And that was Pokemon.
And then
too.
and that was Pokemon too. That's the problem. Now, then they get to Mario. Now, last year, they spent the whole entire conference showing us what Zelda was.
Yeah.
They showed us like a 2.5-minute trailer of Mario that actually made me less interested in that game. Now,
It was the
I like
music.
the trailer.
I'm telling you, it was the music. The music was awful.
we can't include Treehouse because what they showed on the Treehouse made me excited for Mario,
Right.
and I do think Mario is going to be a great game.
Oh, yeah,
but if
100%.
we're just going on the presentation, what they showed was awful. Like they didn't explain the mechanic at all. They didn't explain that you actually have world hubs and not just one open world. None of that was explained in the press conference, and this is their biggest flagship title. And
But they had that
and
awesome
that's what
jazz song. Let's throw our hats, jump on our hat, go and fly off a building today.
Why
Listen.
wasn't that the song you sang? When I did it,
I know that would have been a great song.
Man.
Nintendo had, and we're not even talking about. They showed nothing about online infrastructure. They showed nothing about virtual console. They showed nothing about anything that matters to the system. They showed us like 8 games, and most of them were either complete garbage or not even real. Not even real.
It's real in our
It's
minds.
real. It is real. They just started development.
Let me say this. Nintendo really had only one job this year. They had to be able to come out and to show that they were going to be able to support the Switch platform for a long time, not resting solely on first parties. And what did they show us? Outside of Rocket League and Rabbids Kingdom, everything else was first party. That is a problem. That is a problem for Switch owners now, and is a problem for Switch owners in the future. I said whenever we did our predictions and what I wanted to see how Nintendo could win E3 is that they could show me what comes after Mario. Let me ask you a question. What comes after Mario?
Yoshi, Kirby, and Metroid Prime 4.
Sometime.
I'm just saying.
They're all first party games. They're all first party games.
Skyrim.
There's no third party support. Like if I was an owner of a Switch, which I am, I would be incredibly concerned.
4 Switches.
I would be incredibly concerned about the future of this system because very quickly this system is becoming the Wii U 2.
But a better, way better version of the Wii.
We just need proof of third party support. We know FIFA's coming. We know NBA 2K is coming. But
Skyrim.
That's Skyrim. But that's it.
I'm done.
now.
That's it.
Okay,
That's all I got.
Okay.
It was awful.
To wrap this up, just real quick, 'cause we've been going we're almost 2 hours, guys. So thank you for everybody sticking around. Chris, now that your rant is over, what letter would you rate?
An F. It was an absolute F. It was the worst press conference I've ever seen.
Not even putting
Now,
it around.
I'm going to be a little more positive. I'm going to say
Let's call it diplomatic because
diplomatic. Sure.
you want to keep listeners.
Right.
It was an absolute F.
I'm going to say a C plus, just for the fact.
What? A
Yes.
C? What's the matter with you?
Yes, because listen,
Rationale,
right,
rationally explain
right,
why.
because
You think that it was better than EA's conference?
yes,
Oh, you
because
lost your flipping mind. I am about to hang up now.
EA, the only thing I mean, I already told you it was like hardly anything I cared about at EA. At Nintendo's, at least I cared about Mario. I cared about Kirby. I
you
cared
like
about Yoshi.
Yoshi.
I cared about all these. I mean, and I will enjoy Metroid Prime 4 when it comes. My biggest complaint is that most of it isn't coming anytime soon. And what is coming this year, like I said, I'm not buying ARMS. I will buy Splatoon, right? And I will buy Mario. Those are probably the only 2 Switch games I'll buy for the rest of the year. But knowing that my Switch is just my first party Nintendo system, that's all I'm using it for, I'm fine with that. But Brant, what do you think? Chris has this sour look on his face, but what do you think? Well, how would you rate it?
Yeah, one thing I can give to Chris is that he is a diehard Nintendo fan. Even with all this hate, I can tell he
wants
the
Nintendo to
best for
succeed,
them.
right? And so do I. I completely agree.
Yeah, it's from passion, man. I love the brand.
Like
You should have
some
started
fans,
with that.
Listen. There's some fans that just
most people already
defend it even when it's wrong.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think those are the type of people that say this is an A+ presentation.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay,
No,
they're faking themselves out if they think it is.
Yeah.
You're coming from the right place, Chris. I just think it's a little bit too far, maybe.
Absolute F
But
garbage
that's-
trash.
I don't want to see how you treat your children because you love them.
You got
But,
A minus? This is F garbage trash. And you take their homework and you ball it up and you eat it and you like spit it in the trash can. And...
Fair enough.
I'd probably give it a C- though.
Oh my gosh! The fact that you guys pick C's, I'm upset.
I mean, it's close.
So
to
wait,
a
this
C.
average-
like
can
I said,
grade
Mario
both of your grading because both of your grading
Is an F.
is a G minus.
with all our ratings going together for Nintendo, we're like a D.
Yeah, we're probably
probably
in the
more
So
D
it-
range
I'll say
because
if
he's
you-
at the.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Negative.
if you look at our conferences right now, to kind of wrap everything up, Nintendo's at the bottom, just by average, but our top tied. I think we had Sony at a B, I think we had Bethesda at a B, Microsoft at a B, and I think Ubisoft is our winner. I think we had A minus. All of us had A minus or A. I think.
I
for
had
Ubisoft.
solid A. I had a
So
solid
I
A
think
on
Ubisoft wins
Is the
for
winner.
Life of Gaming's best conference
Yes.
of E3 2017.
Yes.
So congratulations, Ubisoft, and your Rabbids and
Yes.
your Assassin's
I'm sure
Creeds
you're all
and your
listening
Beyond
to
Good
us.
and Evils. So that
They
was
really
awesome. So guys, to wrap up this extremely long episode, listeners, we want to know, what was your favorite conference? What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Hit us up on Facebook. You can also find us on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod. And you can hear, if you're watching the YouTube channel, that's awesome. See our wonderful faces. You can also listen on the audio version on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the Google Play Store every Sunday. As for myself, you can find me on Xbox and on Twitter and Twitch and Mixer and all these places, and Switch, Jamester0722. And Brant, where can people find you?
You can find me at -the-Brant, MINUSTHEBRANT.
Cool.
And that is my PSN ID as well.
Chris, where
Listen,
can people send
listen.
their angry letters?
You can tweet me at Nintendo Gurus on Twitter, and that's my Twitter account where I get all of my tweets directly. Please DM me tweets at Nintendo Gurus with an S. That's with an S at the end. GURUS. Nintendo Gurus. I'm not sure why, because that doesn't actually make any sense, but that's how I spelled it. Thank you all. I love Nintendo. Metroid Prime doesn't exist. Get off your
Oh my
freaking
gosh.
crazy acid trip. It's not a real game.
Just for the record, if you're watching the video version,
Nintendo Gurus with an S.
There's a lot of gurus. in here.
below Chris's face on our YouTube, you'll see at Neo Lego. So you know,
Wait.
just
Did you not change that? Oh, I changed my Twitter handle. It is at Nintendo Gurus. Please tweet me. And actually, after you tweet me, you should block me on Twitter as well.
jeez.
Oh, that's great.
Well, with that, guys, we hope you enjoyed this show. But until next time, we are out.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this content from the Life of Gaming. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe down below. You can also catch our weekly podcast every Sunday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the Google Play Store. You can find us on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod and on Facebook. Until next time, we are out.